The Handling Basics training goes over the basics of kennel routines, walking through the kennel, and loose leash walking, and how to advance a dog in each of the steps. When entering a kennel, ensure you are always treating low. This can be done by either using your hand to push the dog gently back or tossing the treat when gently cracking over the door. When entering the kennel, staying calm, quiet, and taking your time can help make the process much calmer. If your dog decides to get jumpy or excitable at any step in the process, you could always clip your clip leash to the dog's collar and stand on it as an additional method of support. Kayla does a great job here supporting the dog through the whole process, at each stage offering the collar up command before putting on both the backup collar and the gentle leader. In the most basic kennel routine, the handler steps quietly towards the door, not expecting a sit or a hold the bed command, keeping the leash loose and low near the handler's waist. The handler then will open and close the door several times if needed, expecting just a quick pause. When the dog offers that pause with the door cracked, the handler will give the free command so the dog can exit. In phase 2, the dog is now expected to sit politely at the door. The dog is commanded once with a sit command or just with the positional awareness of approaching the door. The dog is then expected to gently hold this command. If the dog breaks at any time, the handler will use gentle upward pressure on the dog's collar or can use gentle butt pressure and lure with a treat. With the most advanced kennel routine, we're going to start to teach Dickens how to hold a bed stay while leaving the kennel. Kayla here does a great job luring Dickens onto his bed, very quietly having him sit. When he breaks his command, she uses gentle upward pressure on his gentle leader and then supports with a little butt pressure as needed. What she then does is steps away from the dog, opens the door, expecting a higher level of distraction and obedience before giving the usual free command to leave the door. When walking through the kennel, making sure you're giving your dog approximately 3 to 4 feet of leash. Not long enough that they can reach the dogs in the kennel, but long enough that if they were to make an inappropriate mistake, like react to other dogs, they're not able to reach them. At any time the dog gives you any eye contact, make sure you're marking that with a yes or a clicker and offering the dog a high value treat. This is most important with dogs that have a history of reactivity in the kennel and may make a mistake, such as lunging or barking. As a pleasant reminder, at no time should the leash be fully extended to the end of the leash and your hands should not be out in front of you. This allows you to have the most support and be able to give your dog the guidance if necessary. With kennel routines, just like the door routine, when the handler approaches the door, the leash should be loose but long enough to be supportive if necessary. The dog just does a brief pause, handler opens the door, then if the dog does pause, gives a gentle free command. At stage 2, the dog approaches the door, the dog then gives a sit, just as it did in the kennel routine, and then gently pauses before proceeding out the door. With teaching the sit with the dog that's done its advance, Kayla gently used butt pressure at the door if the dog is comfortable with this, supporting the dog with leash pressure if the dog breaks at any time. Remember, with each and every dog, they're at a different stage in the learning, and supporting them and advancing them always helps them make them more adaptable. When first teaching loose leash walking, the first stage is to keep your hand planted quietly on your hip or your belly button. Your left hand then should be used to offer treats low and steady. Anytime there's pressure on the leash, you back up in the opposite direction. That can be considered left, right, or straight back. And then offer the treat low and steady anytime that dog comes back to you. The next stage is implementing the lure. This means what you're starting to do is mark anytime the dog gives you eye contact. Then instead of offering the reward right when the dog returns, you continue to hold the lure down in place till the dog gets back into the heel or rewardable position. Finally, when moving into the third and most final position, which would be withholding reward until the dog is in position, you're going to start making yourself more excitable and rewardable. This may mean using a high-pitched voice, making yourself excitable, but still Continuing to mark. Anytime you back up, the dog gives you eye contact, and then using your feet instead of your hands to make yourself more exciting and get the dog back doing the awesome thing called loose leash walking. We finish here with a nice finished dog that knows all of his basics. Here is Dickens, who's showing a great job coming back to the handler for a nice yummy treat. Anytime there's tension, Kayla backs up, uses her feet, Dickens gets right back in position and is rewarded for his great behavior.